Yoga. I believe this is episode 15. My name is Hannah. Thanks so much for tuning in. Start in a comfortable seat. You can sit up against the wall, you can sit on a blanket or a block. If sitting up is actually not very comfortable, or if your energy level is really low today, you can start by lying down. That's where we'll end up in a moment anyway. If you're sitting up, place your hands either to the tops of your thighs or place your palms together in front of your heart. Sit tall in your spine, heavy in your seat, and either lower your gaze or softly close your eyes. Take a moment to be with yourself, with your body. Establish a little balance. Be balanced in where you place your weight in your seat, so you're not leaning forward or leaning back or into one hip or the other. And as you sit tall and long in your spine, also be soft. Yoga puts us in situations to be out of balance so that we can be more aware of, number one, how to find and establish balance, and number two, where exactly we are out of balance in a way that is a struggle to us. Place your awareness on your breath. Make your inhale and your exhale equal in both length and depth. Gently release your hands, lower your eyes. Begin by lying on your back. You might already be there. Start with your knees, mat your feet on the floor, and with your hands somewhere on your torso. Take a moment again to breathe. Breathe intentionally. Ideally, you're always breathing, but a lot of times we breathe without noticing. Gently straighten your legs on your mat and bring your legs together. Keep your left leg as it is and draw your right leg in. Behind your right thigh and release your hands. Push your thigh into your hands until your arms straighten, and then do or don't, begin to straighten your right leg. This can be done, by the way, with your knee bent. It's totally fine. Push your thigh into your hands, so you're actually moving your leg away from your torso. Your left leg is the one on the floor. Turn your left inner thigh in, and then reach through both feet. Release your right leg. Switch sides. Draw your left leg in. Interlace your hands behind your left thigh and push your thigh into your hands. Do that until your arms straighten. Then do or don't, straighten your left leg. Whether your left leg is straight or not, push your leg into your hands. On your right leg, turn your inner thigh down. Then reach through both feet. Gently release your left leg. Bend your knees, place your feet to the floor again. Widen your feet a little. Then, like windshield wipers, move your knees side to side. You can keep your arms on your torso or bring your arms overhead, which can help to open up your diaphragm and make more space for you to breathe. Gently come back to center. Your feet are now wider than your hip width, so walk them in until they're hip width apart. Keep your left knee bent. Draw your right knee in, and again, behind your right thigh, and release your hands. Begin to straighten your right leg. All right, the aim of the game is straight legged on your right leg. Keep your hands as they are, or with your legs straight, bring your hands to the back of your calf. Keep your head on the floor. Stay here, or if you can keep your legs straight, bring your hands toward your foot. I did have to bend my knee to get my foot a little bit, but now I'm moving towards straight again. Turn your left knee cap to point up. Have your hips as low as you can. And push whatever's touching your hands into your hands, whether it's your thigh, your calf, or your foot. Push. Be sure that your hands are not behind your knee, otherwise you're pushing your knee beyond straight, most likely. Release your right foot. Keep your right knee bent, draw your left knee in, and interlace your hands behind your thigh. Push your thigh into your hands, straighten your left leg. Stay here, or slide your hands to your calf, head still down. Stay here, or hold your foot with your hands. Even if you have to bend your knee momentarily, see if you can move your leg in the direction of straight. It's early, by the way, for this pose, so be conscious of that as far as if you're judging your own effort. Point your right kneecap up. Move your left outer hip away from your shoulder and let your head be heavy. Push whatever's touching your hands into your hands, whether it's your thigh, your calf, or your foot. Release your left foot. Widen your feet and do knees side to side like windshield wipers. All right, gently roll to one side. Help yourself up to hands and knees, please. You can support your knees on a blanket if this is uncomfortable, but place your hands a little wider than your shoulders. Spread your fingers wide and point your index finger straight ahead. Bring your knees hip width apart. And with an inhale, lengthen the sides of your waist. Exhale, round your spine, cat pose. Inhale, go the other way. Lift your chest, lift your chin, cow pose. Move through these two poses. And in the same way you balanced your inhales to match your exhales, balance the depth of your cat pose with the depth of your cow pose. Depth and duration. Looking for the places of imbalances and looking for the place of balance. It'll cultivate awareness. Gently come back to a neutral spine, please. Keep your hands as they are, but bring your knees together. Then reach your right arm out in front of you. Reach your left leg back behind you. For more support, you can do toes or fingers to the floor. Grip the floor with your left hand. Squeeze your right heel in. Tone your abdomen up towards your spine, and then stretch your lifted limbs apart. Lower your right hand, left knee. Take a breath. Reach your left arm out in front of you. Stay here, straighten your right leg back behind you. So it's opposite arm and leg lifted. You can also do hand and foot to the floor. Grip the floor with your right hand. Squeeze your left heel in. Tone your abdomen in, and then stretch your lifted limbs apart. Lower everything down. Maybe move your hips side to side, maybe move through a few rounds of cat and cow. And for downward facing dog, walk your knees back about 6 to 8 inches. For me, I usually go from the tops of my feet, then curl my toes back, and wherever my knees end up is where I stay. Lift your hips up and back, down, down. Widen your feet at least hip width apart. You can have your feet a little wider. You can also bend your knees, which will create more space for you to stretch your spine. Grip the floor with your fingertips and push your index knuckles down. Lift your armpits a little so your arms are straight and strong, and then push your hands down and forward. Stretch your hips back and your thighs back, which, by the way, you can still do with knees bent. Place the inner edges of your feet together. Shift forward plank pose with your knees on or off the floor. Take an inhale in your plank, and an exhale in your plank. Take another inhale. Exhale, grip the floor with your hands, keep your head lifted and lower all the way down. Uncurl your toes. Straighten your arms by your sides and turn your palms up. With your hands and feet still on the floor, lift your kneecaps and your shoulders up. Then lift your head and chest up. This is locust one. Press your tailbone into your abdomen. Without lifting your hands, lift your shoulders and stretch your chest forward. Stay here or lift your arms and legs up for locust 2. Keep lifting your shoulders faster than your hands. Reach your hands and feet back and your chest forward. Lift the base of your skull up. Lower down. Press up to hands and knees, please. Bring your big toes together, your knees a little wider than your hips, and for child's pose, sit your hips to your heels. Rest your forehead on the floor. Forgot my watch. So if you catch me looking awkwardly toward the camera, it's because I'm checking the time. Sure, that'll be fun to have footage of. Gently make your way back up to hands and knees, please. Okay. Just like you did earlier in your tabletop position, spread your fingers wide, point your index fingers to point straight ahead. Now with your knees together, walk your knees back slightly. We're moving into a variation of side plank with your knee on the floor. Grip the floor with your left hand. Keep your left knee on the floor, but step your right foot to the floor behind your left foot, so that if you're looking at me, your left toes are pointing toward your right arch. Then bring your right hand to your hip and turn sideways. Grip the floor with your left hand. Lift your chest, lift your chin. Stay here or extend your top arm up. All right, lower your right hand fingers wide. Bring your right knee next to your left knee. Bring the top of your right foot to the floor. I'm going to turn around so I can still face you. Grip the floor with your right hand. Step your left foot behind your right foot so that your right toes point toward your left arch. Your left toes point toward the long edge of your mat. Place your left hand to your hip and then turn sideways so you're stacked. Grip the floor with your right hand. Move your outer right hip in and do or don't straighten your left arm up. Lift your chest, lift your chin, get buoyant and bright inside your pose. Lower your top hand to the floor, lower your left knee to the floor, down dog please. Step your right foot in between your hands. You might have to help it along. Lean into your left hand, twist in your upper body to the right and extend your top arm up. Just lunge with a twist. Lift your back leg so your thigh is parallel to the floor, and then squeeze your right outer hip toward your left inner thigh. Stretch your hands apart, turn across your chest to the right, and lengthen your spine. Lower your top hand on the floor inside of your front foot. Turn your back heel down so your back toes turn to the left, and walk your hands forward and a little to the left for down dog lunge. Squeeze your front heel toward your back foot. Move your right outer hip back. Then like your down dog, push your hands down and out and stretch from your hips through your feet. Gently walk your hands in. Down dog, please. Step your left foot in between your hands. If it doesn't quite make it, you can help your ankle along, but be sure that your foot somehow ends up underneath your knee. Lean into your right hand, twisting your upper body to the left. Lift your left arm up. Lift your back thigh so your back leg is straight and strong. And clamp your left outer hip toward your right inner thigh. Stretch your hands apart, twist, then lengthen your spine. Lower your top hand inside of your front foot. Turn your back heel to the floor so your right toes turn to the right. Stay here or walk your hands forward and off to a slight diagonal. Squeeze your left heel back toward your right foot. Move your left outer hip back. Then like your down dog, push into your hands and stretch from your hips through your feet. Gently make your way back in. Step back, down dog. Bring your feet together. Shift forward plank pose with your knees on or off the floor. Exhale, lower down. Uncurl your toes. Slide your hands back, but keep your palms on the floor. And for cobra pose, with your feet down, legs strong, lift your head and chest up. Go more for a back bend action than straight arm shape. Squeeze your thighs and tailbone out, tone your abdomen in. Reach your elbows back, your shoulders back. Stretch your chest forward. And from the back of your heart, lift your chest up. Gently lower down. Through hands and knees or through plank pose, press up and back to down dog. You choose, walk your hands to your feet. Actually, I changed my mind. Stay in your down dog. Place the inner edges of your feet together. We'll get there, I promise. Separate your left fingers, turn your index finger out. Then wiggle your heels side to side so you're in a slightly longer stance and roll to the outer edge of your left foot. You can keep your ankles stacked, or you can step your right foot to the floor in front of you. Lift your top arm up. Grip the floor with your left hand. Lift your hips. Lift your chest towards your chin, chin out of your chest. And tone your abdomen so you're strong. Lower your right hand down, dog. Stay long in your dog. I'm gonna have to turn my back to you for a moment. Spread your right fingers, index finger forward. Roll to the outer edge of your right foot and either keep your ankles stacked or step your left foot forward. Lift your left arm up. Grip the floor with your left hand, lift your hips. Lift your chest towards your chin, chin out of your chest, and tone your abdomen. Then stretch in all directions. Lower your left hand. Lift your gaze towards your hands and step or hop your feet forward. At the front of your mat, fold over your legs. Bend your knees enough to bring your bottom ribs and thighs in contact. With your ribs and thighs touching, see if you can lift your hips a little bit more. So the aim is not legs straight, but the aim is ribs and thighs together and hips up. And that inherently will give you more space in your low back to mitigate risk. Risk of what? Risk of low back injury. Place your hands to your hips. Like your cobra, squeeze your shoulders on your back. Inhale, stand up. Exhale, arms by your sides, mountain pose. Okay. Turn to the middle of your mat. Step to the middle of your mat. Turn to face the long edge of your mat. Lift your arms overhead, stand with your feet together. Place your palms together, interlace your fingers, extend your index fingers out. With your inhale, get as tall as you can, stretch out. Exhale, lean your torso to the left, crescent pose. For more support, you can bring your left hand to your hip. Shift your hips to the right. Move your left shoulder more forward. Then lift your chest, lift your chin, and stretch through your hands. Use the pull and grip of your hands to get more length. Come back to center, stretch up. Go the other way, lean to the right. Move your hips to the left. Move your right shoulder a little forward. Then lift your chest, lift your chin. Stretch through your fingers and use the grip of your hands to get you more length. Come back up. Keep your arms up, stretch up. Keep your torso as upright as you can. Bend your knees, sit your hips back and down. Kathasana power pose. As you sit your hips back, bring your knees a little behind your toes. Press your tailbone in, tone your abdomen in. Then curl your torso more upright. Tone your abdomen in still. Lift your chest, lift your chin, and pull through your hands. With your inhale, stand up. And with your exhale, lower your arms, mountain pose. You can stay where you are. Inhale, lift your arms up. Exhale, fold. Stay in your forward fold, but breathe freely and evenly. Point your big toes to turn. Point your big toes straight ahead. Point your kneecaps straight ahead. Feel free to move in your torso however it feels good. Place your hands to your hips. Squeeze your shoulders on your back. Stand. Okay. Tree pose is next. Lean into your left foot. Lift your right heel. It's hot outside today. It is June in Arizona. Pivot on the ball of your right heel to turn your knee out. This is going to give you a more supportive place of balance because you have your foot on the floor. stay here or bring your foot to your calf, your ankle, or above your knee to your inner thigh. Be sure to point your toes down, your knee out, and if you need your hand to support your ankle, keep it there. Otherwise, place your palms in front of your heart or lift your arms overhead. Lift your left kneecap to firm your thigh. Press your thigh into your foot into your thigh. Move your ribs back. Lift your chest, lift your chin, and if your arms are up, stretch them up and back. Gently release. Lean into your right foot. Lift your left heel. Pivot on the ball of your left foot to turn your knee out. And if you need even a more supportive place to be, balance is tough. You can bring your foot off to the side, but keep pointing your knee out. Bring your foot to your ankle, your calf, or above your knee to your inner thigh. Please do not put your foot on your knee. Point your toes down, your knee out. Place your hands wherever they're the most comfortable and supportive for you. Then once you're steady, lift your right kneecap, firm your thigh. Press your foot and your leg together. Move your ribs back. Lift your chest, lift your chin, and stretch your arms up if they're already up. There's a difference between having your arms overhead and extending them. Gently release, mountain pose. Okay. If you have a block or something block-like, you can use that. And if you're using a prop, bring it into your right hand. Take a wide stance, please. Lift your wrist to the height of your shoulders and use that as measurement. Widen your ankles underneath your feet. Turn your right foot open to the right. Bend your front knee like a warrior two. Then place your hand or your block to the floor outside of your front foot and extend your top arm in line with your ear. Move the top of your left hip back. Move your right knee out. Tone your abdomen in. Move your shoulders back and then turn in your chest. Stretch through your top fingertips. Take your block with you, stand up. Turn your right toes in, heel as wide as your little toes. Turn your left foot open and bring your block into your left hand. Bend your front knee. Place your hand or your block to the floor outside of your front foot and extend your top arm in line with your ear. Move the top of your right hip back. Move your outer left hip back and your knee wide. Then tone your abdomen in and turn. Keep reaching through your top hand like your crescent. This is extended side angle. Take your block with you, stand up. Turn your left foot in and check your stance, see if it's still wide and your feet are still even, and then bring your block into your right hand. Turn your right foot open to the right. This time bend your knee just a little. Triangle pose is next. Move your hips to the left, torso to the right, and place your hand or your block to the floor outside of your shin, just further back than your foot, top arm vertical. Begin to straighten your right leg if that's conducive for you in your practice today. Push through the ball of your right foot. Move your hips a little forward, your head and shoulders back. Tone your abdomen in so you're strong in the middle. And then stretch in all directions through your feet, your hands, your head. You can look down, out, or up. Gently come back. Take your block with you. Turn your right toes in. Left toes out and bring your block into your left hand. With your arms parallel to the floor. Bend your left knee a little, lean your torso to the left and place your hand or your block to the floor outside of your shin. Extend your top arm up. You can stay here with your knee bent or push in the ball of your left foot to straighten your leg and lift your kneecap to make it strong. Move your hips a little forward, head and shoulders a little back. Tone your abdomen in and then stretch through your feet, your hands, your head. You can look down, out, or up. Take your block with you, bend your front knee, stand up. Turn your left toes in, step or hop your feet together. All right, half moon is next. If a block was helpful in triangle pose, you can use it again here. I find for me, it doesn't help me with balance, so I'm opting out of the block. Step to the, still facing the long edge of your mat, step to the left side of your mat. Step your right foot to the middle of your mat and turn your toes straight ahead toward the short edge. Bend your right knee. Place your hand or your block, this is important, forward and a little wide of your foot. Lean forward, lift your back leg up. With your hand on your hip, you can gauge where you are in space. Move your right outer hip under your left. Turn in your chest to stack your shoulders and make your straight leg strong. Then do or don't, extend your top arm out. Tone your abdomen in. With your next exhale, stretch through everything. Feet, hands, head. In your standing leg, come out. If you used a prop, take it with you. Step to the other side of your mat. Step your left foot to the middle of your mat and turn your toes toward the short edge. Keep them there. Bend your left knee. Place your hand or your block forward and a little wide of your foot. Lean forward, lift your back leg. If your standing leg is bent, it's going to be strong by default. If your standing leg is straight, lift your kneecaps. Move your left hip under your right. Move your right shoulder on top of your left. Do or don't, straighten your top arm out. Tone your abdomen in, strong in the center. And then stretch through your feet, your hands, your head. Find a still spot to look at, it'll help with balance. Come out, mountain pose. Step to the top of your mat, please. Inhale, lift your arms overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Step back, plank pose. Lower all the way down. Inhale, lift your head and chest up, cobra pose. Push your feet down, tailbone down. Tone your abdomen and move your shoulders back. Lift your chest, lengthen through the back of your skull. Lower down. Down dog. Soften your knees. This time walk your hands back to your feet, hands to feet. Place your hands to your hips, stand up. All right, some of you have done this with me before. It's a little silly, so it's a good thing nobody can see you. Not that it matters, I'm silly all the time in front of people. All right, make peace signs with your fingers. Then close your peace signs so it looks almost like the sign language letter H. Then hook your fingers like you had hooks for hands. And as if you're gonna make glasses, put your thumbs over your fingernails so it's a closed circle. So it would look like glasses. You don't have to do that part. All right, that's how you hold your big toe. Okay, lean into your left leg. The earliest stages of this is gonna look a lot like tree pose, so you can do any variation of tree pose you wish instead. Otherwise, lift your right leg and with your right arm inside of your leg, peace sign, close your peace sign, place that into your big toe inside of it, then hook. Like you're putting your glasses together, put your thumb over your fingernails. Reach your left arm to the left, stand tall. Then open your right leg to the right. Stay here, it's a lot like tree pose, or bring your shin parallel to the floor. Stay here, begin to straighten your right leg. It's like triangle pose on one leg. Move your right outer hip forward and pull your foot down toward the floor. Then lift your chest, lengthen your spine, and reach through both fingers. Push your right toes into your hand. If you can, come forward with your leg, then release. Okay, second side. This is standing big toe leg to the side. Lean into your right leg. Lift your left knee. Remember, you can do tree pose instead. With your left arm inside of your leg, do your peace sign. Put your peace sign together and put that to the inside of your big toe like a flip-flop. Then hook your foot around your toe and glue your thumb over your fingernails. Then stand tall. Reach your right arm to the right. Glue your left arm and leg together and like your tree pose, open up your leg. You can stay here and work on balance. Otherwise, bring your shin parallel to the floor or potentially move in the direction of straight. Move your left outer hip forward. Pull your left heel slightly down. On all straight legs, lift your kneecaps toward your hips. Lift your chest. Then push your left foot into your fingers and reach through your right hand. Come out. Place your block or prop at the front of your mat. This is a just in case prop, you do not have to use it. Time is it. Step to the top of your mat. Lift your arms overhead. Exhale, fold forward. In the home stretch, step your left foot back to a lunge. Then widen your right knee slightly. Sorry, right foot. Lower your back knee to the floor. Place both hands to the inside of your front foot. Stay here, or lower your forearms to the floor or a block inside of your front foot. You can make this a stronger pose by curling your back toes under and lifting your back knee. I'm going to opt not to do that today. Whether your knee is down or not, lift your left hip a little. Pull your right heel back and squeeze your right outer hip back and in. Push into your forearms and soften the space behind your heart. Strong arms, soft heart. If you're not already, make your way to your hands. Bring your right foot in between your hands. Step your left foot forward. Step your right foot back. Widen your left foot slightly. Lower your back knee to the floor or a blanket. With both hands inside of your front foot, you can stay here or bring your elbows to the floor or a block in line with your left arch. If you did on the first side, curl your back toes under, straighten your left leg. Sorry, that's your right leg. In all cases, lift your right hip up a little. Move your left outer hip back and in. Push into your forearms and soften the back of your heart. Strong arm, soft heart is also a metaphor for being strong and compassionate. For setting boundaries from a place of love. And that also requires a lot of balance and a lot of practice. If you're not already, place your palms to the floor. Bring your left foot in between your hands. Step your back foot forward. Fold over your legs. Widen your feet even a little. Be sure that your knees are pointing in the same direction as your toes. Hold opposite elbows and swing your torso side to side. Push your hands to your hips. Help yourself to standing. All right. In yoga, each pose is an offering and an option, which means it is not an obligation. And in the next pose, watch for a moment. These are your options. Let me get my hair out of my face. In your next pose, you can do any variation of side plank that we've already done. To refresh your memory, bottom knee down, ankles stacked. Those are the two we've already done. We've also done this one. If you're interested in adding on, your options will be foot to your inner thigh like tree pose. Notice my foot is above my knee. Or like you're standing sage, arm inside of your leg, you hold your outer foot or your big toe. Point your knee up and begin to straighten your top leg. I'll talk you through it. Start in child's pose. That was mostly for me, and we'll go from there. While you're in child's pose, catch your breath, but also listen. To two things, actually. Listen to what I'm about to say, but also listen to the reaction of your body. One of the things that's really helpful about seeing where we're going is that from the get-go, you get to choose how you want to participate. There's a lot that goes on in this pose. The foundation of a pose is what makes a pose strong, but when there's a fancy things happening on top, it's really hard to remember where your hands are, where your feet are. So in this pose, it is crucial to have your fingers spread and your palms gripping, like you're palming a basketball. Because what that's going to do is it's going to help stabilize your wrists, which will help stabilize your shoulders, which will help stabilize your pose so that you can do things with a little more ease, potentially. All right, start in down dog, please. That's what I've got. Bring the inner edges of your feet together. Wiggle your feet back a little bit, so you're in a slightly longer down dog. Then look at your hands. Spread your fingers wide, specifically on your left hand, and point your index finger forward or the tiniest bit out, like less than 1/4 of an inch. Roll to the outer edge of your left foot. Remember, you can lower your left knee. Keep your ankles stacked. Bring your top hand to your hip. Get steady here. You can choose to stay here. You can be done when you're done. For the tree pose variation, bend your right knee. Place your foot to your calf. That is above your knee. Or hold your big toe with your first 2 fingers and thumb over fingernails. Grip the floor with your left hand, push into your left foot, and begin to turn your hips and chest open. Stay here, begin to straighten your leg. Ooh. Push your toes into your hand. Then release, child's pose between sides. Hopefully your mat is less slippery than mine is. Help yourself to down dog, second side. Bring your feet together. Wiggle your heels side to side, lengthen your down dog slightly. Then spread your right fingers and turn your index finger straight ahead or the tiniest bit out. Roll to the outer edge of your right foot. Lower your bottom knee if you're doing that version, or stack your ankles. Remember, come out whenever you're done. It might not be when I cue you to come out. Stay here, extend your top arm up, or bring your foot into your tree pose, or hold your left big toe, first 2 fingers and thumb. Push your right hand down and forward, push your right foot into the floor. Then turn your hips and chest open and begin to straighten your left leg. Push your toes into your hand, lift your chest. When you're done, come out. Child's pose. Where are we on time? Right on schedule. Help yourself to a seat, please. Place the soles of your feet together. If that's not an optimal placement for you, you can bring your feet forward and wide. You can also sit up on a block. Move your inner thighs back and apart. Do the same thing second side. Hold the fronts of your shins with your hands. Push your heels together, lengthen your spine up. As you push your heels together, stretch your thighs out. Hold your outer knees with your hands, lift your legs up. Extend your legs out in front of you. Move your hips back as if you could shorten your legs. And move your inner thighs out. Place your hands next to your hips or a little behind your hips and lengthen your spine. Hinge your torso forward. Stay here or hold your calves, your ankles, your feet with your hands and lengthen your chest. Lift up. Stay here, fold forward over your legs. And if when you fold, your ribs pop up away from your thighs and you look more like a cat pose, I would highly recommend bending your knees so that your ribs and thighs are in contact, as per the aim of our game earlier. Keep hold of your feet. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, stay where you are. Inhale, sit up. Gently lie down on your back, please. Bend your knees, place your feet to the floor. Walk your heels in. Push your upper arms down, walk your shoulder blades in. Bridge pose is next, but this is bridge pose within cool down. So not big bridge pose for a big back bend. Bridge pose for an even, symmetrical stretch. Look straight up. Push your feet down, lift your hips. Hold the outer edges of your mat with your hands or interlace your hands underneath you. Shrug your shoulders slightly toward your ears and stretch the tops of your thighs out. And then release your hands over your hips. Move your feet forward and a little wide. And extend your arms off to the side with elbows bent or arms straight. Move your hips a little to the left and lower your knees to the right. Look up or to the left. If there's any discomfort in your knees, push your feet into the floor and squeeze your heels back towards your hips. Your knees up. Move your hips through center to the right and lower your knees to the left. Look up or to the right. Lift your knees back up. Realign your hips with your shoulders. Draw your knees in and hold the fronts of your shins. Allow your low back to round. Feel free to roll side to side or be still. And release your legs long on your mat. Settle in for Shavasana. Pose of repose. is either to the tops of your thighs or is a gesture of centering. Place your palms together in front of your heart. Lower your gaze or softly close your eyes. Take a moment to acknowledge your effort. Effort, not necessarily results. And deep reverence to you. Namaste. Thank you so much again for tuning in.